Welcome to Coding Culture. Um, so what we do as software developers is day in, day out. We discuss about code. How can we make the code better? How can we, which web framework should we use? Should we use a NoSQL database? Should we use a SQL database? How can we improve the product? How can we make it better for the customer? These are things that we talk day in, day out, really, when we are at work. What a lot of companies or a lot of teams tend to forget is to talk about how we do things, how we do stuff. How do we celebrate our wins? How do we talk with each other? What are our values? These things we tend to forget. Because you have to understand this. So products, maybe they are here now, they are a success, but maybe tomorrow there's a competitor product killing your product. They go. But what at the end stays is your culture, your team that you build the next awesome product with. So this is what I want to talk about today. So you may think, Sven, all these things, you tell us that's profane. Yes, obvious, we should do that. There are two things to that. So first, yes, there's maybe obvious and profane, but sometimes it's good to get reminded what's really important for our work and for our culture. And the second thing is, you can take one thing out of the culture that I'm going to show you in a sec, but it wouldn't work. It's a combination of stuff. So for example, we at Atlassian, we have a very open culture, so we talk a lot about stuff, very transparent. But on the other hand, we are very respectful with each other. And these things have to go together. I mean, if you have an open culture and everybody ranting on each other, that's not working. That's not working. So it's a combination of stuff. So let's start with what is culture. What is organizational culture at all? So every speaker that want to prepare for his talk, they go to Wikipedia. Yeah. So I went to Wikipedia to look at, hey, what is organizational culture? And I looked at the article, and it says it's about how we talk together. It's about how we do stuff together, how we win together, how we lose together, all these things. And if you read this article, you have this in mind about culture. What is culture? You have no idea. It's this fluffy thing, and I don't know what this is. This is a rabbit or a hamster, I have no idea. But it's this fluffy thing that you can't really touch. You can't really describe. But you know when you're working in a good culture or a bad culture. So let's try to explain another way here. Let's look at the culture that developers love, that they want to work in. So, for example, here, Atlassian, beer on tap. Yeah, we have our own bar. That's great for developers. Developers love that. Or ping pong and free food. Yay! Cool. This is our San Francisco office. So, or developers love Nerf guns. So, give them Nerf guns to shoot at each other. And these little things, they are laying around the whole office at Atlassian. Well, said that is, this has nothing to do with culture. This is not culture. I mean, maybe it is the basis for a culture, it underlines the culture, but it is not culture. So, second try to explain culture failed here. Sorry. Let's try to give it another example here. Another try. A bad culture example. So maybe this is not really but this is an indicator for bad culture. So I've been working in a big company, and we were working I was a team leader of the web team, and there was an embedded team, and these software had to work together. So I found a bug in the embedded software and called them, filed an issue, and they got this issue and replied won't fix. I said, well, it's a bug, obviously. I can show you the line of the code where the bug is. So I talked to my manager, talked to their manager, talked to their team. After 2 weeks, we had a meeting, discussed that. And they agreed, okay, it's a bug. And after I think 2 months, they fixed it in some iteration or in some process. And then I could work with my web server, could work on. So this is just a small indicator. There's something fishy with your culture here. So why companies are doing that? I think it's his fault here. Does anyone know who said this? It's Frederick Winslow Taylor, famous for his Taylorism. Beginning of last century, he was saying, okay, we have to build these things where we can assembly lines where we have humans putting stuff together, and we have a predictable output. at the end. So we have to know that we can produce 10 cars a day. That's a fine. That's good. That's good. So we treated them, the humans, a little bit like machines. So we told them, you have to put this stuff together and then give it to the next person. But there were some people actually Henry Ford said once, I don't want my workers to think. They shouldn't think. They can come to work at 7, and leave at 5. That's it. Don't think in between. Just do what you're told to do. But who's telling them what to do? They had to invent something here. So they invented the managers. Yeah, the people that was telling us what to do. You know, I see that still in some companies, actually in a lot of companies, that we still have this, that they tell us what we should do. But times have changed because work has changed. We are not these assembly line workers. I mean, we're more knowledge workers, and there's maybe no really predictable output. I mean, at that time, that was good because we had to calculate with a predictable output, but now with knowledge workers, it's a little bit hard to say how fast you can do stuff. So work has changed, and people have changed. We are not just going to work, doing our work, going home, and have our life. We want to see a change ourselves. We want to see ourselves in our work. So we want to make a difference here. And companies, well, I think they change, but it's a slow change. They change slowly. So I'm working for Atlassian. Who knows what Atlassian is? Mostly everyone. Okay, cool. So we're doing team collaboration tools like Jira, Confluence, HipChat. And we're a bunch of guys here. This is our San Francisco office. We don't dress up like this all the time. This was our last Halloween party here. We're now more than 1,000 people. I think 1,200 is the last number I got. So a lot of people. And when I started 3.5 years ago, we were 300. So we're ramping up a lot. And this is also something I want to discuss later. Okay, good. Let's start. Culture of innovation. Innovation, very, very important. We have to put innovation in our products because it's like that. Innovate or die. I mean, if we don't put innovational features in our product, well, maybe our product can live 1, 2, 3 years, depending on the industry you're in. But I guarantee there's a competitor having some great ideas and overtake you, and you're out of the market. So companies need that. They need innovation in their products. So now what do they do? So they can say to their staff, hey, go and innovate. Well, that doesn't work. I mean, really, I'm doing my work every day. I have my sprint goals, and there's no time for innovation. Okay, other motivation here. Give them money. You get $400 for an innovative idea. But also here, I never have time to write down my cool idea that I have, and then I have to give it to the innovation committee or whatever there is, and they say, this is great, this is a good idea, this is not a good idea, and give me then the money. This doesn't help for innovation. But how do we motivate now people to innovate? Well, it's totally easy. It's very, very easy. People don't have time. We should just give them time. Give them time to try out their innovative idea. And that way we can get innovation from the people. So that's what we do at Atlassian. We meet every quarter for a so-called Ship It Day. That's a 24-hour hackathon. So we meet before the Ship It Day, and then we have a brainstorming, people discussing the ideas that they have. Some people don't have a great idea, so they join a team with a good idea. And then at a Thursday, 3 p.m., the Ship It Day starts. So then we meet and have a 24-hour hackathon. Just hack, just do some cool stuff. And it's great what you can achieve in 24 hours. If it's really your idea and you want to see that come to life, it's great what you can do in 24 hours. It's really, really amazing. At the end, on Friday, we meet again, and then we show our innovative idea to the whole company. And that's the key here. Showing what my idea to the whole company and let them see what cool idea I had. So This is, for example, a Ship It Day project here. We have this this product called HipChat, where it's a chat. So, and someone has the idea, well, it can automatically translate messages. So if you type in here the message in a different language and you're logged in another language, in English here, for example, it automatically translates into English. So they use a Google service, Google Translate for that. Very easy, but it was a cool idea. I think it will never make it in the real product, but it was a good idea, and yeah, I like it. So. Ship It Day. What do we get out of a Ship It Day? So first, we get, of course, a working prototype. It's just a prototype, not polished, nothing. Really, it's flaky, and so it's a working prototype. On the other hand, we get happy developers. People, really, that's actually the reason why I became a developer. I want to create stuff. I want to see my stuff come to life. That's the reason why I became a developer. So this way, this is actually innovation for the masses. Some companies say, oh, but we have this innovation team, this team that does all the innovation. They are the smart people, and they come up with the cool ideas. But innovation can happen to anyone in the company at any time. You really miss out if you don't get that innovation from the people. But the secretary can have a great idea and try it out, or let it try out from other developers. So this is really innovation for everyone. So innovation happen, but we just have to give people the possibility to grow their ideas. That's it. So innovation, very important, and it's a core actually of our culture. And we have great success with these days, and there came some great products out of this Ship It Days. And of course, most of it you will never see in our products, but there's really a lot of stuff coming out of Ship It Days. All right, culture of happiness. I mean, this way, that makes me happy. I'm a happy developer if I can hack for some time and do some stuff, and this is really good, and see my stuff come to life. But what are companies doing for making people happy? They have these summer parties or something. That's good. So you learn other people from the company. You get to build relationships with them, probably. You see them in different, not just work. So this is good. Or you have team building events where you go out with the team and learn about the strengths and weaknesses of your team members, and that you can use later in your job if there's a crisis, or you know, okay, I can trust this one. He gets a cool hat when a crisis comes up. So, and we have also something end of fiscal year parties. This time it was games of code, and then we putting people from different departments together in one team, and they have to fulfill some tasks, and then we party at the end. So this is great. Fun with coworkers. It's really for building relationships outside of your team. That's good, and learn about the strengths and weaknesses of your coworkers. But these are just once in a year or twice in a year, you do this. So what are we doing daily? Well, we are agile, so we sprint. And at the end of the sprint, we're doing a retrospective. So we're looking back. What went good? What didn't go good? What should be fixed in the next sprint? And then we go on to the next sprint. And then on to the next sprint, and on to the next sprint. And then we're fixing stuff on the way. But this is really, we tend to forget what we really created here. And my favorite movie is I'm a kid from the 80s, so my favorite movie is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And Ferris says a very important sentence in this movie. He says, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. That's totally important. So we should stop and not just look back, what can we do, and try to be better all the time and run. We should stop and celebrate the team wins, the small and the big wins that the team has done. So if we do a release, why don't we just do a release party? On a Friday evening, invite a lot of people and do a party. Just to celebrate and show everyone this is a new cool release and we worked on it and we did it. Or do a team offsite. just go out with the team. Our legendary team offsite for Jira 5.1 was our Area 51 party. So we're doing this for every release, have fun together as a team, and then after the party, concentrate on the next release. Or if you don't get support from your management, just bake a cake or something and meet and say, yeah, this is a release cake, and then meet for 2 hours and invite some stakeholders and discuss your release. So, but said that is, we are very privileged as software developers. Why? Because we create stuff. We can really look back and say, this is what we did. Look at this. New functionality, wow. Now, not everyone at Atlassian can say that from their jobs. For example, our service people, they can say, wow, I answered 200 support cases this week. Yay! It's not that motivating. But what our support team has, they wrote down, 2 years ago, they wrote down their service values. And they looked like that, and they agreed on these service values, make the customer awesome, yada, yada, yada. And they were very proud of this, and they made a poster. So they made a poster, put it up on the wall, and said, these are our values. This is what we stand for. But if they go to the office each day and look at the poster, and look at the poster, and well, it becomes blurry. You see that every day, and really things, oh yeah, make the customer awesome. Next support case. You don't live these values anymore. You don't see them. You don't have them in the top of your head and see that this is important for you. But also our service teams, these values are very important. So they said, okay, stop. We're meeting every 14 days and celebrate our cultural rock star. So they vote for one that stood up for these values and go over and beyond. So they really stood up for these values. And then they write a poem or a rap song for this guy or girl, and really appreciate what he or she did. Or they just take a guitar and sing a song for her or him.
Oh, Rick and Jen, this song is for you. Let's talk about these 6 weeks, what we've been through. Oh, Rick, how much whiskey can you drink? Night and the night will last in the night. And still get hella shit done.
Yeah, you know how Rick and Jeff felt after that? They really said, wow, cool, great. So that's very important. So stop and celebrate your small and big team wins. That makes us happier. And it helps us to focus, to see what is important for us. What's really, what you work day in, day out and see stuff, but this is really to stop and see, this is important for us. This is what we want to achieve. So you can ask yourself your questions. How happy are you at work? Well, you say, yeah, I'm happy. But what about your team? How happy is your team? Maybe they say they're happy, but they're not very happy. You don't know. So how do companies find out? Well, they make surveys. So they ask every year, they ask their employees this year. How do you feel? Well, good. What do you want to do more? What do you want to do less? Blah, 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 blah. And then 1 year silence. And you can feel 11 months, you can feel really, really worse. And then your boss won't find out, or he should, but you don't measure that. So this actually sucks and is slow. This is a slow process. So we said, okay, good. We have to do something here. We want to know faster how the team feels. So in a Ship It Day, we developed an iPad app. It looked like this. We call it the Mood app. So at every exit at Atlassian, there's this iPad stand, and when you leave the office, you just say, oh, I'm feeling good, bad, somewhere in between. And then we measure the results. We see, okay, good. Mood is going up, mood is going down. We know that mood is going down. We are in front of the big release and everybody is pushed, but it should go up again. And if it's not, maybe we should talk to people and fix stuff. So we're measuring that, but we also adopt the questions. So we also want to know, how's the management doing? So Does your manager understand what you tasked, what you love and lose? So you can say, "Oh, my manager understands it," or yeah, you got the point. Or we say after our company party, we say, "Hey, how are you feeling today?" And everyone was feeling like this guy here, happy, but not that well. This is open source. You can download that, and I got the slides available afterwards, so you can get the link afterwards also. So, Atlassian is not the only company that's doing that, that's asking their employees, how are you feeling? Also, Spotify does that. Someone here from Spotify? Cool, great. Love your culture, mate. So they asked us, and 91% found out 91% were happy, which is good. It's a great number, 91%. Wow, awesome, great. But then they said, okay, what's this 9%? Rest of the 91%, the 9% that is not happy. So we talked to that people, talked to the unhappy people, and then found some flaws and some easy to change things. So after that, 94% were happy, and which is even a better number. But you cannot make everyone happy actually. All right, balance your passion. We should balance our passion. So what do I mean by that? Let's start with that here. Why do we code? I answered that before. I code because I want to create great software. That makes me happy. I want to create something great that makes me happy. So what do I need for creating great software? Oh, let's ask your famous Swedish chef here. What do we need? Well, I need the best tools that I can get. If they cost money or not, I don't want to care about that. So I need some good tools. Of course, I need support from the management. The management should support me. They should say, if I push the deadline 2 weeks and I really have to push it, they should understand that and support that, or they don't just take my team, tear it apart and say this project is now more important. So I need support from the management. We're talking about culture here, so we need a great culture with respect and trust. We should respect and trust each other, for sure. And then we need something like the Swedish chef, very passionate developers. Very, very passionate. And you probably know the Swedish chef. Well, he's not the best one, but let's add some talent to the mix. So talented, passionate developer, and then we're good. So give me that and I create your great software. Why do we code? Create great software. Makes me happy. But we tend to forget something. It makes not me happy, it should make the customer happy. And that's what we often forget day in, day out when we work at our code, on our product, that we have to make the customer happy. We shouldn't forget the customer. So how do we get reminded about our customers all the time? Let's see that. So at Atlassian, we have great customers. So for example, Emma here. Emma is a great customer. She just started with Confluence, so she's new to Confluence and she's trying stuff out. And when we create a new feature, we think about, how will Emma use that feature? Is it easy to use for Emma, or is it not easy? Is it obviously that Emma can find this new feature? So we make it easy for Emma to use that feature. But Emma is not our only customer. So we also have William, and William is he knows Confluence inside out. He's a Confluence administrator. He knows every keyboard shortcut. He's a really specialist. So when we do the feature, we not just think about Emma, how will Emma do that, use that feature, but also, okay, do we fuck things up for William now? That we make it easy for Emma, but for William it will be harder and stop his productivity. So we also have to think about William. But said that, Emma and William, they don't exist. They are fake. We made them up. Because we use personas at Atlassian. They represent special customers, or a group of customers. And these personas are actually helping us to create our features for our customers. So for example, Emma here, we have the scorecard for Emma where we say, okay, good, here we get to know Emma a little bit better. So there's a story around Emma, so our developers knows how Emma thinks, what she's doing. So we have this, okay, what tools does she use? Is she on Facebook, whatever, just to get to know Emma better, just to have her as a real person in their mind. And these cards are hanging everywhere at Atlassian, so you get reminded as a developer every time that we're doing software for these personas. And you can't escape from our personas. They are really everywhere. Everywhere you go, they are the personas. So, and people come up with new personas all the time. So they come up with Sven on the Walrus. So a bunch of happy guys. So. Said that is we actually so Emma and William, they're of course they're of course actors, so they don't exist as real customers. So but once actually the actor from Emma was in our office, we were making new pictures for the personas, and a developer came and said, oh look, there's Emma, let's show her the new feature, let's show her the new feature. Emma is just a persona, and this is just an actor. Come on. So very passionate. They were very passionate about, and they didn't realize that these are just personas. They thought they were real people. So, and this shows how passionate people can be about your software. So be passionate about your software, because you spend actually 8 hours a day on it. So better be passionate. And if you do that, and if you think about your customer all the time, you create this. A nice looking, great, shiny product. This is your product. And then your customer comes and says, oh, can you just fix this small thing? I didn't like that. So she said, yeah, great. Well, let me open my IE and let me open the code and look at my code. And then you open the code and say, oh my God, maybe my product looks good, but my code is awful. So then you have to have thought a little bit too much about your customers. So we are engineers. We should have engineering values. And I just want to present some engineering values from Atlassian to you. For example, if you see this here, it's somewhere in our code base. I have seen that in every project. So you give it a Boolean, it returns a Boolean, totally stupid code. So it's actually, I think, in every org. It's in Jira probably, and in Confluence, I don't know. But a value, engineering value is don't write crappy code. And this is very important. So this is just maybe a stupid example, but we're not allowed to write crappy code. That's a value. And if somebody wants us to write crappy code, we should say no. If it harms the code, say no, I don't write crappy code. Well, it may take 2 or 3 days longer if I write it the proper way, but I do it the proper way. I don't make a shortcut here, because everyone knows we can't go back and fix stuff. We never have time for that. So engineering value, don't write crappy code. If you look at that, well, easy. It's a array of names, goes through a zip file, looks at the entries, and if something in the names array matches with the zip file entry, it returns true. It's okay. It's okay code. But if you use Java 8 with the Streams API, you should write that. Always look for a better solution. That's another engineering value that we have. Always look for a better solution. So, and I have to make this example. I'm from Germany, and I have to show this slide. And but you know what? What's wrong? Yeah, at the end it was 7-1. Sorry. But you know what? Here the scorers they didn't fit here on the scoreboard. It was too many goals. A scoreboard would be the solution, but it's not a good solution. So always look for a better solution. Try and find better ways. This is our next engineering value. But there are people in your team probably they are really passionate, and they always discuss things. And these are the most intelligent people, I think, in the team. They really want to discuss everything, and I call them the prima donnas. They run around and say, "Oh, we have to move from Maven to Gradle because it's better, it's easier." And say, yeah, it's true maybe, but hey, let's turn our passion into products. Turn your passion out. If you have discussion, forth and back, like in this one here. Yeah, this color is not our in our design guidelines. Nah, okay, but this is an exception. Yada 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 yada. That's a prima donna discussing there, and you say, stop it here, and turn your passion into your products. That's another engineering value. Another thing, Duke Nukem, I think the third part 3D came out in 1997 or something, and then they say They said, "Oh, we're working on a next part," and they had to change the architecture. And then they had another 3D engine, had to change it. So I think it came out 2011 or something. So this was Duke Nukem Forever. So this is really, if you build something, balance your architecture with getting things done. We have to get stuff out of the door. So don't sit in your ivory tower and say, "Oh, this is the best architecture I can do." We designed this web server for 400 concurrent users, even though we just have 20 users using this service. So balance your architecture with getting stuff done. Well, the important thing is here, and we have more engineering values, but the important stuff is here not our values, but that you write down what you stand for, your engineering values. So you can refer to them and say, if somebody comes and says, "Oh yeah, well, do that in one day," you said, "No, we have this value. Don't write crappy code. I'm not doing that." So balance your passion. It's not just about the code always. It's also about the customer. So balance your passion here and get stuff done. One team. Let's start with that. 12. 12 is natural team size. When we're back in the Stone Age, we're 12 people hunting the mammoth. So that seems to be a natural team size. 150. 150 is a round numbers number. Well, it can be 120, 170, but around that's numbers number, and it explains how many stable relationships we can maintain. And if companies grows above this number, they get anonymous workplaces. No, it's not that bad, but we get into silos. We think about, oh, we are the developers, and these are the legal persons. We don't like them, and we're the cool kids, and they are okay, whatever. So we run into silo problems when we grow, but we have to bring people together again somehow. We have to understand each other better. So if I use these open source library and say, okay, can we use this open source library in the legal department? Said, no. Say, these stupid legal department. Said, these stupid developers, they don't understand what legal what we think about this stuff. They don't understand us, and we say, well, they don't understand us. So if I write an email to the legal department, I came back, I have this in mind, this stupid legal person. But I got a picture of this legal person. Wow, he looks actually kind of nice. He's laughing. He looks like a friendly person. So maybe I pick up the phone and call him, or I go to his desk and explain it more to him. So what we do at Atlassian is not only that we give people pictures or the faces. Everyone that starts at Atlassian have to write an introductory blog post. So this is the Benjamin here. Benjamin just started at Atlassian, I think 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago. And he actually writes some personal stuff here about himself, a YouTube video of him playing the guitar, so I get to know Benjamin a little bit better. And then you can say, okay, we saw you play football, Benjamin. Let's meet on the football. We meet at Thursdays, 3 p.m., so let's meet and have a football match. So this makes the company transparent. Transparency is very, very important for us. And we share everything. We share our wins, our fails, our decisions, our questions. So for example, our wins. Our design team has won a design award. Great. And they share it. They write a blog post. Everyone reads it at Atlassian. Or here, we're doing 20% time, and somebody writes, hey, why is 20% time broken? But in the next thing, he just writes, and how can we fix that again? And then we start a discussion on this blog post in the comments thread. Or if we have something to discuss, our technical refactorings, for example. That's a proposal how we do technical refactoring. So somebody writes that down, shares that with the whole organization or just with the team, and then we have a discussion around that, and at the end, we have an agreement. Very transparent process. Also, if we just have questions for the company, like how can we stop coming sick to work? Also here, we discussing that on our blogs or here in questions. And that makes the company transparent. But you have, if you want to be transparent, you have to know your transparency enemies. And what are your transparency enemies? It's the phone. Ooh. Yeah. So phone. Obviously, if I discuss something on the phone, nobody else can later follow up on that. Just me and the person that talks on the phone. It's not documented. Email, well, it's documented somewhere, but somewhere in my inbox or in the people that were on the thread. So also not very transparent. Or the water cooler, discussion at the water cooler, decisions that we make at the water cooler is nowhere documented. So what we try to do, we want to be more transparent, and we're documenting everything in our Confluence and our wiki. But we also use chat very, very heavily. Chat is very, very essential for us at Atlassian. It's really since we use HipChat, I think my internal email went down, and it's now down to 40% what it's been before. And chat is so good. You can connect to your team, so every team has its own chat room, so they discuss things in the chat room, and it's documented. Because if somebody is not there, currently in another time zone or in a long running meeting and comes back, he can watch the discussion in the chat room because we store all the history. And then we connect everything with the chat. So it's our notification center. So we have bots running. So if somebody wants to deploy the code on the QA server, we can just type it in, deploy, and it's deployed automatically on the QA server. And everybody can see that because it's in the chat room. And if the build fails, we also get a notification, and we can just in the same chat room say, hey, who's looking at that? Who's fixing that build? And it connects actually the whole organization. And it's also not just for each team, also from different teams. So, for example, we have this football chat room where people are interested in football. They discuss, okay, when should we meet for the next football match, or also something about the World Championship. So we share everything here. So transparency is really bringing people together, and it brings the remote people with the office people together. It actually helps with time zone problems. So if we have a Friday blog post, and we are totally distributed, we have office in Sydney, San Francisco, Amsterdam. So it takes 24 hours for the discussion to run around the world. And after 24 hours, everyone has read the blog post and can discuss it. And it turns hierarchies down. It's easier to comment on a blog post from a CFO, and he can comment on mine and can jump in the chat room. So transparency really helps us to spread our culture. Okay, the last 5 minutes I want to talk a little bit about scaling culture. I said 12. 12 is the natural team size, I said. So our teams are around 6 to 8. This is our programmer team size. And of course, we have cross-functional teams. So we have designers in the team, we have QA people in the team. But that said is that we don't have enough designers and QA people for every team. So if we don't need them, they move to another team. They can just move to another team. And then we have people with design skills. We train them, they have design skills, normal developers. And if they have problems, it's easy. They can just connect to the designer, and the designer can come back for 1 or 2 hours or for 1 day to the other team, no problem. And if the product grows, of course, there are more teams working on the same product, which companies, I think there's a natural movement for companies to have specialist teams. So we have the front-end team, the performance team, and the database team. But this really makes problems if you slice your teams like that. You get coordination problems because a feature runs over all teams. It touches the database, it touches the front end, maybe also the performance. So you get coordination problems. And we're missing customer relation. I mean, the data, we don't have a persona that says, I want an awesome database. It's not existing. So this team missed the customer relation, actually. So we are not doing that. We have so-called theme teams. So for example, for Confluence, we have a team that cares about easy start, how people that don't use Confluence each day have it easier to use it. We have teams that cares about enterprise, so big customers, also not just performance things, but also front-end things. How can you show 1,000 people in the administration mask or something like that? If we have developer teams that, a team that cares about developers, so better Jira, Confluence integration, and how to do retrospective and Confluence and stuff like that. So, and these teams are autonomous. So one team uses tool X, the other tool doesn't use the tool at all. One team meets daily, the other team meets just when it's necessary. So these teams are autonomous. Now it's of course sometimes you want some support from another team because they know how to do performance, or they know how to do mobile better. So you want to support from them. So what you do actually, you go to the manager from the other team and say, hey, can we get support from your team? And the manager says, yeah, but you have to wait 2 sprints. my friend, because we have other priorities. Okay, just 3 words for that. Just do it. Just go and change the code. And we call that a democracy. So our democracy is actually built on autonomy and, of course, on trust. We trust each other that we don't fuck things up in the code, or we don't harm the code. So autonomy and trust. But if you grow that fast and that big, you don't want to have a bunch of autonomous teams running around and doing whatever they want and changing everything. So we add a little bit transparency to the mix. So this is the secret. So adding transparency. So for example, we had this Confluence page layouts that we changed, and this touches maybe also the performance teams, the easy start team, so it touches more teams. So we changed the page layouts. So we had this specification, and then we started the discussion. And everyone jumped in, oh yeah, you have to look out for big customers, so you have to see here. And also people that had nothing to do with development actually could jump on that. And then they went on and changed the code, and they were changing other people's code, even though there is nothing like other people's code. We have collective code ownership, but there are some people that are expert for that code. And how do we make sure that we don't do anything wrong in that code or fuck things up in the code? We're doing code reviews. We should do code reviews. But who's the best person to check it, to check the code? That's also our question. So we were looking at that and say, maybe we can find out. And we wrote a plugin for our Git repository manager Stash, and it's called auto-suggest reviewers. So we are looking on who is the original author or who changed the file the latest, and then suggest these reviewers based on that. So these are the persons that know the code the best. So these are the best reviewers here. So we could have had a big process around that, but we said, okay, good. We want to move fast. So it's a lightweight process here, our transparency, autonomy, and trust democracy. But it helps us to scale by keeping our development speed up. So yeah, that's our culture. Transparency, autonomy, and trust, yada, yada, yada. But now you have listened for me for 40 minutes already, and you probably have still this in mind about culture. It's still fluffy, and let me tell you that 3.5 years ago when we were 300 people and I started at Atlassian, we had a different culture than we have right now. Culture changes, but it should just change in a skeleton. We didn't want to change it that much that we are not behind it anymore. So what we actually said, okay, transparency, autonomy, and trust, nobody can actually remember that. So what we do is we give it sticky names. So we don't call it transparency, we call it open company, no bullshit. We call it autonomy and trust, we call it be the change you seek, play as a team, build with heart and balance, and have the customer in mind. We say, don't fuck the customer. And this is very, very important for us, and you can, if you meet an Atlassian, ask, what are your 5 values? These are our values. What are your 5 values? And they can tell it from the top of their head. Because we use that in every discussion. I mean, really, in every discussion we say, hey, but that fuck the customer. So and we have this value, don't fuck the customer. Very important for us. These values are really important for us. And this gives our culture stability. Yeah, sure, the culture changes, but it just changes in a controlled way. And also important, we remind people, so this is our hangs out on our ceiling in the San Francisco office, so everybody sees the values each day. So this is also very important. So just one more thing. And this has something to do with Apple. And I don't announce a new watch, an Atlassian watch or something. So, Ping. I'm sure a lot of teams were working on Ping. Great software. Steve Jobs announced it. Social network for music in iTunes, built in iTunes. Great. But where's Ping now? It's gone. They removed it again. So products come and go. But I'm sure these teams that are actually have worked on Ping are doing now something others also awesome stuff. So products come and go, but at the end it's the culture that stays. So this is the important thing here. Thank you very much. Thanks for your attention.